Hello, everybody. I don't know why I'm speaking in a British accent.
I thought it was a very sultry, sexy sort of thing. I didn't get British, but okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Anyway, here we are for another episode of Shit Talking. I'm Christina.
And I'm Robin. And we're happy to be here. We're full of energy. Christina just got a blowout. So if you're not watching the podcast, I just want you to know what's happening right now.
Yes, you should be watching because it's just more funner. I know that's not proper, but I wanted to say it.
It sounds good to me. It sounds excellent. So what are we shit talking about today? I feel like it's a little ironic that we're shit talking about social media when this is being streamed live on social media, but I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Well, that assumes that we're going to say something negative about social media.
Don't we say something negative about everything?
Well, I think we're mostly positive, aren't we? I mean, we recognize the limitations of things at times.
There are limitations. So, do you feel like we live in a social media obsessed society? And when the hell did that happen? Where did that come from?
Hell yeah. You know what? I think we've probably always lived in a society where we're sort of maybe focused on how we look and how people perceive us and, staying at the top of the food chain. And I think social media has just sort of highlighted that and made it super easy to get obsessed about it.
Well, I'm thinking back, right? And maybe I'm dating myself a little bit. Actually, I'm not. I don't think I'm definitely dating myself. But I'm trying to think about when I first became involved in social media. And I think that for me, it's probably a toss-up between Black Planet and MySpace. So I think MySpace, though, for me, I wasn't super into Black Planet. And I know there were all these other iterations. I know there was Mi Gente, there was maybe there were other things. I think there was something Asian centered as well, where it was more of a cultural experience where you're talking to other Black people and it's a thing. And Latinos are talking to other Latinas and Latinos, and that's a thing. But I feel like for me, MySpace was the first time where there was something that you would actually spend time on and that you would check multiple times a day and, look for comments or messages or something like that. So I don't know what it was for you, but I think that was that's what popped the social media cherry for me was MySpace. And it was kind of, in a way, it was a little bit more involved than the social media we have now. There was legit coding that you had to do.
Oh yeah.
To get your MySpace page up and running and get pictures and graphics and animated things and a song on your profile. It was a lot.
I have to say what I thought was very cool about MySpace was you could have a song on there.
Right.
I really liked that. I kind of wish Facebook would do that.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I think Facebook is a little bit more about the interaction and about, commenting and what's on, I feel like I'm going to mess up the words now. I'm going to say, what's on your wall? It's a wall, right? I don't know.
Was it a wall? What, on Facebook?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think so. I don't know if anybody even says that anymore, but that was originally what it was called.
Well, this is why I'm dating myself. But it's more about that of someone posts something and then you interact about that thing versus someone going to your profile and just looking at your profile. Well, I'm sure people do that too, but probably just more in a creeper capacity because they just want to know what's going on with you. But I felt MySpace, it was all about the profile. It was what picture do you have up? What song do you have playing in the background? What animation is going on? I think it was more about that.
What's the art?
Yeah. Yeah. And then
I don't remember any much else about MySpace. What if you posted things and people could comment? I don't even remember.
I think people could comment and people could comment on, but if you, it was less I don't know, like the whole, you know, I don't know, just diarrhea of your day. You know what I mean? Like MySpace wasn't like, here are the eggs I ate for breakfast. Like that didn't really happen on MySpace. Whereas I feel on Facebook and Instagram, there's just more of like, I literally need to document every time I take a shit or else it didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like I'm at the mall, I'm at work, I'm at home, I'm on my couch, I'm eating dinner. Like that's more what we have now. MySpace wasn't like that.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember MySpace, taking over my life either.
No.
But maybe it's because it just wasn't around long enough, because I don't know what went wrong with MySpace. Why didn't MySpace become what Facebook is? Does anybody know?
Well, if you remember that Facebook started on a collegiate level, where it was literally for college students to interact with other college students. So I think that the whole premise behind it as a social platform, and that people were trying to socialize with other people, I don't know if that's what MySpace was.
Well, I just Googled MySpace. It's still there. It looks
I wonder if my
different.
is still up.
Oh my God, I would never remember what email address I had back then.
Well, I still use my email address from back then. So,
oh God, I don't even know what the heck year this was. I was so young.
Well, I remember, like, I'm trying to think of years. I remember being in law school on MySpace. So this had to be somewhere between 2003 and 2006.
You're right. I just Googled it and it says MySpace was founded on August 1st, 2003.
Okay. And then I remember, what's his name? What was his name? Tom? He was like your first
Tom,
friend?
yeah, Tom Anderson.
Tom Anderson, if you are listening to this show, I want you as a guest on Shit Talking so we can talk about what the hell happened to MySpace and why you don't, and go kick Mark Zuckerberg's ass for basically stealing your idea and running with it.
Well, wait a second though. Tom is okay. Tom sold MySpace for a shit ton of money. I don't know how much. I don't remember. It was a lot. Forget who the hell bought it. And then it went defunct. I kind of feel sorry for those people, but Tom made out like a bandit. And Tom is actually on Instagram now, and he is a photographer. All he does, don't ask me how I know this. I came across an article that said, whatever happened to Tom from MySpace? And do you know that his profile picture is that photo?
Does that seem like it was like to the side, kind of? Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember. I don't remember Tom Anderson. I'll have to find it and post the link in the notes. Oh, it's MySpace Tom. That's what it is. Okay. Hold it up if people can see it. See the photo?
It's the same photo. Okay. So I'm going to make a promise to the listeners out there. I am going to contact Tom. I am going to send Tom a DM and go, look, Tom, we have this podcast. We were talking about social media. You need to be on. You need to be a guest and talk about the MySpace heyday and like what was going on. Like I want all of the background, like Wolf of Wall Street stories, like the parties you went to, how much coke did you do? No. I want all of the MySpace background of like, what was it like from 2003 to 2006? That's what I want. I'm getting Tom, guys. I'm getting Tom.
Thank you, Derek.
Oh, thank you.
He says we look beautiful tonight.
Well, Christina is very fancy, whereas I kind of just showed up. So thank you.
Right. You always look gorgeous.
No, I literally, before, like 5 minutes before we're going on, I'm like, let me do my hair. Let me put it in a ponytail. Let me throw on some lipstick. I was kind of doing the most. So,
well, I recorded a podcast earlier today, so I had to doll myself up.
And dolled you are.
Well, thank you.
You are dolled. So MySpace didn't suck us in though.
I don't know. I bet you back then, I remember back then, if you had a crush on somebody, you would definitely look them up to see if they were on MySpace. Did you have to add them as a friend though?
I do think that there needed to be some connection
Okay.
as far as like accepting people. And I'm not really sure what the privacy settings were like, but was there something that you can think of in between MySpace and Facebook? Because I feel like it just went right to Facebook.
I kind of feel like once Facebook came around, it just went viral and that was it.
So were you instant on Facebook? Like, I'm in, there's this new thing called Facebook and I want a part of it? Or were you kind of like, what the hell is this?
I distinctly remember being at this house that I lived in at the time. I rented a basement apartment. I graduated from law school in 03. So MySpace started in 03. And I remember maybe it was 04 or I don't even remember. We could look and see when Facebook started, but it must have been around that time.
Okay.
And I remember this young girl that lived in the house was using Facebook on her computer. And I just happened to be sitting there and I'm watching her do this. And I thought it was really interesting. And I said, what is Facebook? I can't even believe that came out of my mouth at some point in time now, right? But I looked at it and I just go, what is Facebook? I had no idea what it was. And her answer was something like, oh, it's just a place where college kids can stay in touch or something like that. And that was it.
So it says here that Facebook actually started February 2004. So right after MySpace, but didn't really become popular. I guess didn't really take off until about 2009, it's saying.
Oh, wow. So, okay.
And when was it available to the public? Well, I think that just means as like an IPO, like as far as stock. So that's not really what I'm asking for. But when I looked up when did Facebook really become popular, it says 2009 is when it really became popular.
And it looks like Tom Anderson sold MySpace in 2005. He sold it for $580 million.
Oh, hey, Tom. How are you?
Hey, Tom.
Hi. How you doing, Tom? So I think all of that is to say that Tom is fine.
Tom's doing okay. Don't anybody feel sorry for Tom.
Okay. All right. So I do not feel sorry for Tom. So I don't remember like my encounters with Facebook. I don't know.
I remember I started going on Facebook when I broke up with somebody all those years ago. Yeah, that's sort of what I remember was happening around that time.
Okay. So I don't even know what, I'm sure if I went onto my Facebook, it would tell me when I got onto Facebook.
Oh yeah, it'll tell you. And the reason I brought that up, because it's like kind of irrelevant, is I think I broke up with him in 08 and Facebook said I started in 09. And I do remember those things all happening around the same time. So that makes sense. So I think it was 09 when I started using Facebook, which makes sense because I guess it was so popular at that time. Like you said, it really took off in 09. And everybody was on it. So then when did Instagram come around? I think Instagram was after Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely after Facebook. But now it's just so funny how these things like fade in and out, right?
Yeah.
Because now it's like Facebook is no longer the cool thing to be on. It's like, oh, that's like, I mean, and when I say that's what my parents are on, admittedly, both of my parents are on Facebook. So it's like, that's like what the old people do.
The old people.
Yeah, the old fogies are on Facebook now. So no, but it's true.
Yeah,
like
no,
when you think about it now, when you want to be visible to a younger audience, now you're not talking about Facebook anymore. You're talking about Instagram. You're talking about, then it became Snapchat, which I didn't understand if it was just for filters and dog ears. I don't know. And then it became TikTok.
Well, yeah, we were the old fogies by the time Snapchat was popular because only the young kids were using that.
Well, yeah. I mean, and that's kind of what TikTok is now too, is that you don't see a lot of older people on TikTok.
Well, I remember Snapchat being a little scandalous because people were using it to sext each other. because they would send a Snapchat. And I think the whole idea of Snapchat was it doesn't last long. The photo doesn't last long and then it disappears.
Well, that's actually what I thought it was for. I said, in my mind, Snapchat was for like, if you wanted to send a picture of your junk, like that's what it was for.
A dick pic.
Yeah. A dick
whatever.
pic, a dick pic, if it were right. Like if that's what you were trying to do, you use Snapchat because you knew it would disappear. So then when people were saying, oh, the Snapchat, in my head, I was like, dirty girl, like you're on the Snapchat.
Well, but then what became scandalous about it is that, younger girls would do this but you could take a screenshot. So you could actually save that photo, even though it would disappear on Snapchat. If you took a screenshot, you still had the photo.
Right. But at least from what I was told, because I was not on Snapchat because I'm a proper lady. What I was told is that if someone took a screenshot of your Snapchat, you would get a notification of it. So you would know that someone screenshot your Snapchat of your junk.
Isn't it too late though? By that point, they have
the image is done.
So yeah, I don't know. Snapchat's still around, but I thought what was fascinating is that Kylie Jenner at some point said in a story or something, I'm kind of over Snapchat. Like, I don't know if she said it exactly like that, but
I feel like that's exactly how she said
it. Kylie Jenner impression.
And it was dead on.
And then I don't know, their stock plummeted or something crazy. Like the users went down significantly, but it's still around. My goddaughter, Sydney, who's 7, loves it. She loves playing around with the filters and stuff.
Well, now that's what I kind of think it's about. It's like just for people who want to do like the filters and the dog ears and like the tongue coming, like it's a little bit more for the animation than it is for the dick pics, which is good because I wouldn't want Sydney exposed to dick pics.
God, no. So according to Wikipedia, the app for Instagram was released on October 6th, 2010.
Huh.
So I wonder when it really got popular. Well, I just love the internet.
Isn't it helpful?
2012, it says it was released for Android and was downloaded more than 1 million times.
Well, what I'm hearing is that now the kids who are in their late 20s, this is what Steve says, that they're rarely on either platform. So they're not on Facebook or Instagram. So I guess what are they on? Are they on TikTok? Like, what are they doing now? Like, I feel like now the big thing is TikTok.
Let's not forget about YouTube.
Oh, well, but do you consider I mean, I guess it is, but do you consider YouTube to be a social media platform?
I always refer to it that way.
And I do think that it's referred to that way. But what I'm looking for, I guess when I think of social media, and it is in a way social media, because media is just getting information out to the masses, right? That's all it is. But when I think of social media, I think that I automatically think of interaction. And where I can interact.
You can write comments.
Yeah, but I feel like it's not as, to me, it doesn't feel as interactive. Like, and maybe that's because, again, my age, like what I'm using YouTube for is more to like watch a video about like, how do I fix my garbage disposal? Like, it's like I'm watching very random things on there, or like, watching an exercise video for me to do in the morning. Like that's what I'm using YouTube for. Not so much to say like, I'm going to watch someone's YouTube live. And I know that you can go live on YouTube, but like watch their live and interact with them and talk to them and comment with them and go back and forth. I don't really think about it as a way to, what is Discord? Damn it. There's all these things now. I don't even know what Discord is.
Discord. There's, you know what? At some point, there's just too many.
Well, now there's the Clubhouse. You're all over the Clubhouse. Talk about the Clubhouse because that's a thing.
So Clubhouse is like, it's audio only. I hope they don't add video at some point because I actually Derek would know because he's got teens too. But what I actually like about the Clubhouse is that it's only audio. So when I'm at home and I'm running around the house in my jammies and my hair is not done, I can just put in my headphones, my earphones, and I can just listen to it. I don't really have to participate, so I don't have to engage if I don't want to. I can just enter a room, be quiet, not be heard, not be seen, and just listen. It's
Yeah.
like an informal seminar, I would say. If you've ever been to what they're doing now, like virtual seminars,
Mm-hmm.
like in Jersey here, we have the annual meeting for the New Jersey State Bar Association. And you can just throughout the day, they'll have seminars in different rooms, and you just pick which one you're going to go to, depending on the subject. So most people have been to something like this. I feel like that's what Clubhouse is, but it's just audio.
So it's very funny that you say this because I'm on Clubhouse, but I'm not on Clubhouse. So I have like a profile, I guess you would call it. Like I'm on there, but I haven't really experienced Clubhouse. So I was talking to my law partner before she left the office tonight. And I said, oh, we're talking about social media and this, that, and the other in Clubhouse. And she's like, what the hell is Clubhouse? She's a little bit older than I am. So I was trying to explain to her what Clubhouse is. And she's like, so what is it, like a party line? And I go, I
You're
guess.
like, what's the party line?
I guess. But she's like, yeah, like everybody would get on a line and like you would just talk about something. And I was like, I guess that's what it's like. So I almost feel like everything old just becomes new again.
Well, I'm not exactly sure what a party line is. My understanding of a party line was you shared a phone line with other people. So if you ever wanted to use the phone, you would pick up like, old phone, not cell phone. You would pick up, your old style phone, and there could be somebody on the phone already using it. So there wasn't real privacy. Do you know what I mean? Almost
Yeah.
like same house. And if someone's upstairs and they're on the phone and you're downstairs and you don't know, you pick up the phone and you realize someone's on it. It's kind of like that, but you were actually sharing the line with other people in other households.
Well, let me think about this. So do you remember? Okay, now we're going way back, guys. Bear with me for anybody on here who's like super young. Just bear with me for a second. So you remember like back when AOL had like chat rooms?
Yes.
Okay. So Clubhouse to me reminds me of like AOL chat rooms, except with audio. Like you're not typing, you're just kind of in a chat room and it's less people trying to show you their penis.
I guess, yeah, I guess it's sort of like that. I never got into those AOL chat rooms. I never really did that.
Oh, I did. It was so much fun.
So you could be in the chat room, and not actually be chatting, but just watching what everyone
else
is writing.
You could just like watch. You could just like watch what everyone else, and you could see who's in the chat room. But like basically what I think that AOL chat rooms were just like a vehicle for sexual predators. Like that's kind of what I think it was, because what would happen, and you have to think about age-wise, like when I was back in chat rooms in AOL, like what was I, maybe 14? Give or take. Like I was a legit teenager. Like I wasn't a grown-up. Because I remember being in my parents' bedroom. That was the only place that had a computer. So I had to go to their bedroom. My dad had a desk in the bedroom, and I could go in there and like go on these chat rooms. And inevitably, someone would like see your name in the chat room, and then they would like, I don't know if it was double clicking then, but they could send you basically a private message. And then they would ASL you, age, sex, location, A/S/L, right?
Wow, I don't even know this stuff. What? You're giving me an education.
And that's what shit talking is about, guys. That's what it's all about. So
they would write ASL and you were expected to respond with that information.
Right. So like, then I may say like, 14, like, so 14/F/NJ. Right. So here's the thing. This is why I say it's a platform for sexual predators. Because if somebody's on there, now granted, there were times that somebody would be like, oh, cool. I'm, 15 from San Francisco or whatever. And then you chat, right? Maybe he's 15, maybe he's not. I watch Webalize on the ID network. I know how this stuff works. So maybe not. But there were definitely times that there were guys that would be like, oh, 28, male, wherever. And they would still talk to you.
Well, that's
14-year-old. You know what I mean? So it was a little scandalous.
Well, I think what's scary about that is that your 14-year-old who thinks they're, an adult, because we all know everything when we're 14.
Correct.
They're like, well, I'm very mature and I want to go out with someone who's mature. So I'm going to go out with this 28-year-old. I'm going to meet him at wherever, Taco Bell.
When I was 14, I did go out to meet a 28-year-old, not from a chat room.
What?
We're veering so off topic, but here we are. Yeah. So I met him at a party. It was a high school party, which just like tells you everything you need to know about him. Because why are you 28 at a high school party, right? Yeah. So I met him at a party. I believe it was a Chad Science party. So Chad and both Science High and Chad High are both high schools in Newark. And they had a joint party for the high school. And we went because I grew up in Maplewood, not that far from Newark. We went to the party. Not to mention, growing up in Maplewood, it wasn't super diverse. There weren't that many Black people. So as Black people, we went to Newark to go to parties. Like that's just what you did growing up. So I was a freshman in high school. I went to the party. My sister at the time, I want to say was a junior in high school. She didn't go to the party. Okay. So meet this guy at the party, dancing. We exchanged numbers, but like legitimately, because it was 1994. So literally it was a piece of paper with a phone number on it. We exchanged numbers. I start talking to the guy. My sister finds out who I'm talking to. But I think before she found that out, he goes, why don't we go and meet at like some place, like either in Newark or Irvington, maybe like Irvington Center. I don't know. So I took the bus to go meet this 28-year-old.
Oh my God.
Right?
I'm so glad you're still here.
Right. As am I. My sister found out. My sister's 4 years older than me. Lost her fucking mind. Like, which is what a good sister should do. Because she's older than I am. So at this point, she's like, I want to say, she might not have been at the 4-year mark, but she was like 17, 18. Somewhere along those lines. So she was like, wait, I know that guy. Because at the time, she was talking to his friend who was like, or his cousin who was like young, like 19 or something. And he goes, don't you know that what's his name is 28 years old? Right? So my sister finds this out, says to me, did you know he was 28 years old? Which I didn't. So then when I talk to him, I go, are you 28 years old? And he goes, but he's whatever age he said was not much better. Like he might have said he was like 20, but I was still 14. Still gross, right?
Yeah, still gross, but certainly when you're 14, 20 is way better than 28.
Right. But lost her mind and was like, look, you stop talking to this guy. I'm going to tell mom and dad that you're talking to this 28-year-old guy. My dad probably would have gone and shot him in the face. So that wouldn't have been positive. You know what I mean? So how we got on this? Oh, chat rooms. How did we get on how I almost became a victim? Yeah, ASL. That's what it was.
That is really scary because, like, what does a 28-year-old man want with a 14-year-old? That truly is disgusting.
I know what a 28-year-old man wants. Like, look at freaking R. Kelly and Aaliyah. Like, he was 100. And how old was Aaliyah at the time? Like 14?
She was young, yeah.
Because he's a sexual predator. That's what a sexual predator is.
Kelly, isn't he? He was indicted.
I don't know. He kind of fell off the radar. Like it was like big news for a while. Like all of these people coming forward after that. God, what was the name of the show they did? I want to call it Surviving R. Kelly, but I don't think that's what it was. Maybe that is what it was called. But it was like the documentary about R. Kelly. So after that whole thing came out, everything like blew up about just how nuts he was. But
I think it's Surviving R. Kelly.
Well, because he had all of these victims, like all of these young girls. And I think we all knew about Aaliyah. But here's what's interesting. When I was growing up and we heard about like Aaliyah and she was young and she was doing her like age ain't nothing but a number. Like she did her like all that thing, right? But like as a teenager, I kind of thought it was cool, like that she was like hanging out with R. Kelly. Like I thought that was the coolest thing. He
was hot when he was young,
right?
No offense to anybody, but yeah, well, I remember him being in the news. I didn't pay much attention to him, but I remember he was in the news and he got a lot of attention when there was this thing going around that he peed on somebody, like in a sexual act.
But it was still a young girl.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody was more focused on the fact that he was doing this, like it's a little freaky, you know, to pee on somebody. And
I disagree. I still feel like the focus was the pee and the age.
and the age, yeah, too. But
Because
I heard a lot of jokes about him peeing on somebody.
I think that if he peed on an adult, yes, it would have still been like, okay, well, you peed on an adult. But like,
Yeah.
you don't pee on a kid and then record peeing on a kid. Like he recorded it. How stupid are you? So not only are you disgusting and a sexual predator, you're also a pedophile. You're also just stupid. Like,
well, I think it goes to show you how comfortable he was, because if you watch that documentary, he had this whole network of people around him that knew what he was doing, helped him hide it, helped him get these girls. So he did it for so long. And even when he almost got in trouble one time and he got out of it, he was literally picking up young girls at the courthouse.
Yeah.
So
well, I think that there is that persona that comes out where you feel untouchable. And I think that he felt untouchable, that it was like, no one can touch me. I'm R. Kelly. I will do what I want. I will pee on who I want. That's just what I'm going to do. And I
really should call him P. Kelly.
That was actually a good one. I think that just indicates how corny we both are. that just like cracked me right up. But yeah, like he was just like I'm a god. Who's gonna touch me? Like nobody's doing anything to me.
Well, if he ends up in jail, a lot of people might be touching him.
And peeing on him. He may get a taste of his own medicine should he go to prison.
All right, we're getting off topic, Robin.
I know. And I feel like that's all my fault. And listeners, I apologize because we're not even talking about social media anymore.
They're used to it. We're spastic.
That is true. Like we go from MySpace to golden showers. There you go. All in a span of 30 minutes. That's how we do things on Shit Talking. So
oh God, there's another one we forgot about, Pinterest. I don't really consider, I mean, I think that is considered social media, but
it is.
It's not as interactive as some of the other ones we've talked about.
Well, I think that we got off topic too on Discord because I did look up what the hell that is. And also I want to know, someone kicked their kid off of Discord in the chat here. Who kicked their child off? And why did you kick your son off of Discord? I want to know. Why did you kick your kid off of Discord? Like, what did your kid do? But it says that Discord, because I looked it up, it's the same thing. It says a place to talk and hang out. But it definitely looks like it's for kids. You know what I mean? Here. Look, there's like little like cartoons and shit on it. Like, this doesn't look like it's for adults.
Well, I think some things sort of get their own. Hi, Rosie. I think some people, you don't really get a feel for what it is until you start using it, and then it gets sort of a reputation. Like, for instance, I know there was something where people strictly went on there for sex. And I don't know what Rosie's saying.
No, I was asking why she kicked her son off of Discord.
Okay.
And she's saying because he was just talking to somebody that he doesn't know. But like, don't kids do that even on like Xbox? And like, aren't they talking to random people in these rooms anyway?
Well, I think you do have to be careful with those interactive games because you can get pedophiles that go on there and they're playing the game, but then they're like, oh, you know, how old are you? Where do you live? Oh, we should hang out. And they kind of act like they're making friends, and they might even pose as a kid, and their whole plan is to try to lure the kid outside the house. So you do have to really be careful with that.
That's really scary. I mean, but when you think about it, it's no more scary than, you know, me being upstairs in my parents' room in an AOL chat room answering ASL. Like how much, like, because the same thing could happen. Luckily, like, you know, no, I'm not like, oh, well, you know, here's my address and you can come to my house or whatever it is. Like, I guess that's probably what they used on that show To Catch a Predator. I used to love that show when
Yes,
they
I
would
was
like
gonna bring
set
that
up the guy and like he would come in. But yeah, it's just like a chat room. Like you have to be just as vigilant with
Yes.
your kids now and who they're talking to, because
yeah.
there are some sick puppies out there.
Well, they did, I think it was on the Today Show, they did this experiment. You know how parents are always telling their kids, my God, that's a big mug, Robin.
And it's all vodka.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this later on the podcast, she just sipped out of her mug and it like took up her whole face.
It is a gigantic Godiva mug, or as I like to call it, Godiva. It's a gigantic Godiva mug that like came with chocolates, but I use it in the office to put water in because it's like the biggest cup we have in the office for me to like fill up with water. But I do wish it were vodka.
I'm still laughing at your Godiva comment.
Godiva. Yeah.
You know, I have never looked at Godiva and thought that, but now I always will every time now.
And you can never say that I have not impacted your life, Christina.
Godiva. I love it. I love it. Oh my God. I just have to tell you guys that my friend Roseanne, who is on here, hopefully it's okay that I'm outing you, Roseanne, but she is a plastic surgeon in North Carolina. And I just interviewed her for Wake Up Call, and it's going to be posting. I actually didn't tell Roseanne this next week. But that was a great interview. And I know we've talked about, here we go on another topic. I was going to ask Roseanne if she wanted to come on Shit Talking sometime. And let's talk about plastic surgery. So here I am asking Roseanne.
Well, Roseanne, I will tell you, if you come on Shit Talking and talk about plastic surgery, Christina and I will both do the episode in bikinis. And what? You can tell. I'm kidding. That will never happen. It will never happen. But maybe after I go see Roseanne, I will do the episode in a bikini. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
After she does a whole
after we do the after
like body transplant. Roseanne, is that a thing, a body transplant?
So we want an episode on plastic surgery, and Derek wants an episode on alpha males. I would love an episode on alpha males.
Yeah, I think Roseanne, I will be in touch with you to schedule something because I think that would be fun. I would love to talk about alpha males and what that really is, because someone who talks about this a lot is Patty Stanger, who you may all know is the millionaire matchmaker. She used to have a show. I don't think that's on anymore, but I
loved that show.
She's a Jersey girl. I'm not sure if she still lives in Jersey, but Jersey girls have certain qualities, and when you see her anywhere, there's no mistaking, she has those qualities. And she actually is on Clubhouse a lot. Mm-hmm. So if any of you are on Clubhouse, you can find her on there. And I kind of forgot what the point of the story was. Why I was talking about Patty Stanger.
Why were you talking about, was it about plastic surgery? Oh, alpha males.
Oh, alpha males.
He was talking about alpha males.
Robin, for getting me back on track. Yeah, so she always talks about alpha males, and she always talks about how women want alpha males. They don't want someone to beat them up and smack them around and all that stuff, but they want somebody who takes the lead, someone who courts them, someone who woos them, not someone who's like, this is what I hear from all my single girlfriends is they'll get the guy that expresses interest in them on Tinder or a Bumble or whatever the hell their people are using now. And they'll just text them forever. Like just randomly. And then they'll disappear for 3 weeks and then they show up again. Hi, just a text says hi. She's like, don't do that. You're just being entertainment for them. You text a few times. If they don't ask you on a date, it's done. And I agree with her.
Well, but I don't know if maybe we're confusing alpha males with certain things, because I definitely think that there are alpha males that still play those games, that don't make plans, but they still want to be like, but I am the man and I do the manly and I'm man. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're courting you. Sometimes there are people that consider themselves to be alpha males that feel like it's completely, emasculine to court. Like they're like, what am I sending her flowers for? Like, like, what am I, going after her for? Like, she should come to me. I'm the man. And they will still think of themselves as an alpha male.
I don't think that's an alpha male, though. Like, somebody like that isn't taking the lead. To me, an alpha male is someone who's confident in himself. He knows who he is. He knows what he's not. He knows what he wants. He knows what he doesn't want. And he goes out to get what he wants. And he's not afraid to say, you know what, I'm attracted to this woman and I'm going to have an adult, healthy relationship by asking her out on a date or having a phone call and not hiding behind text messaging.
Well, I also think that we're making certain assumptions, and maybe we need to talk about this, if we have an alpha male episode.
Yes.
But I think that we're also making certain assumptions that you are not dealing with an alpha male when maybe you're just not dealing with someone who's interested in you. He might be an alpha male, and maybe the kind of guy that would go after what he wants. And if he sees a woman that he wants, he's going to go after her. But maybe that woman ain't you. So you're looking at it like, oh, he's not a real alpha male because he's only texting me and not asking me out and he's not courting me. When in reality, maybe it's like, maybe he just doesn't like you that much.
Well, then why is he even wasting his time texting at all?
Because alpha males still want ass.
I don't know. I think I need to get clear on what an alpha male is.
Maybe we do.
But that's up to the woman to nip that in the bud. Like, I think what Patty Stanger is saying is he's either a pussy and won't ask you out on a date or doesn't know how to engage with a woman like a normal person.
Or he's not interested.
Or he's not really that into you.
Right.
By the way, every single woman, in fact, even if you're with somebody, you should read it. Every woman at least once a year should read He's Not That Into You, or He's Just Not That Into You.
Yeah.
Because that's what they say is if they're not asking you out on a date, if they're not calling you, if they're not engaging with you, they're not interested.
Right.
So these little text messages here and there, they're one of those three things.
And I don't know if I agree though that with Patty that every woman wants an alpha male. I don't know if that's true. I think that there are some women out there that really may not prefer a man that is aggressive. And maybe, and granted, I think that we're doing a lot of assumptions because neither of us have done the research for an alpha male episode of like, what is the definition and all of those things. But, and so, maybe we would get into that once we've actually looked into that a little bit more so that we can give you some educated conversation here.
Do research, Robin.
Oh, you know that I'm going to.
But what we should do? We should invite Patty Stanger to come on and help us along with this conversation about what really is an alpha male.
We should, but I also think that we should, we should also talk to an alpha male because I think it's, and I'm looking at it from a perspective of why am I asking a woman what an alpha male is? Why don't I just ask an alpha male? Like that's almost like when you ask
we have to identify what it is in order to find it.
I know, but I think that and I'm going to take an unpopular opinion. We always get mad at people for mansplaining. Isn't that kind of womansplaining? Like, why is a woman telling me what an alpha male is? Like, I want an alpha male to tell me what an alpha male is. Now, I would love to have Patty on the show. If she says yes, she's coming on the damn show. But
we're not going to kick her out of bed.
No, right. Patty, my dear, we're not kicking you out of bed. Like, you are welcome on this damn show. But I guess what I'm saying is, that would just kind of, it's just kind of counterintuitive to me to be like, oh, I'm going to have this woman come on and explain alpha males to me. Like, I kind of want to hear from an alpha. I would like to hear from her too. Obviously, she encounters this in a dating capacity, but I kind of want to know, like, what is that?
Well,
and I want to answer Judy. We do interact with our audience. But sometimes it's tough because we're trying to talk and read at the same time. So we see you, Judy. And yes, I hear you saying that alpha men are assholes.
Yeah, Judy, I did see that. And I respectfully disagree. I don't think they're assholes. I will not date someone who's not an alpha male. I can't,
Hmm.
I don't know. I guess, but again, we're going down the rabbit hole because I think
I know.
there's a disconnect. Like we need to identify what an alpha male is.
So
So
here's what
in
we're
my view,
yes.
what I think an alpha male is it's desirable. So I wouldn't want to date someone who wasn't an alpha male.
Yeah. I think that when we have the alpha male episode, I would love to make sure that Judy, you come back for that because I feel like you have some really interesting things to say about alpha males. And I would like to hear what you have to say and what your experiences, because it sounds like your experiences were kind of negative, and I think we need both views. You know, like Christina, you're looking at it like, hey, like I like alpha males. You know what I mean? That's what I'm into. I wouldn't date somebody who's not. But you know, people have some different perspectives, and we're here for it. I'm here for all these perspectives with my big Godiva mug.
Godiva. All right, people, we
Yeah.
were supposed to be talking about
I
social
know.
media.
Well, I think that we covered all of like I think what we covered basically is that we're old. And we don't know all of these newfangled social media platforms. And I'm very comfortable with Facebook. And now that I'm comfortable with Facebook, it's no longer cool. I think that that's what it comes down. What it comes down to, I think, when we define what social media has done in our lives, I do think that there is a level of addiction that's not healthy for some people. Does your phone tell you how much screen time you've had? Does your phone do that?
I don't. But the other thing too is I'm not sure if it's accurate because if you leave your app open on your phone, does it think that you're using it?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's the thing. I don't know if that's reliable. Mostly because I don't want to think it's reliable because it's like, how did I spend 23 hours on Instagram yesterday? That's impossible.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes when I'm looking at the amount of time it says that like my screen time for the week, I'm kind of like, that's probably accurate. Like, and we do spend a lot of time mindlessly scrolling. Like, just think about how much time you spend a day. Like, I would like for my phone to actually capture in one like normal day for me, right? How many times do I open Facebook on my phone? How many times do I open Instagram? I'm just really curious. And how much would I be doing if I weren't spending my days doing that and scrolling?
Do you do it during the day though? Because I don't really look at social media much during the day because I'm too busy with work. But if I'm not working, and I'm at home or you know, if I'm at a doctor's office or wherever where I can look at my phone, I do. I just automatically gravitate towards it.
I think even during a work day, if my phone is on my desk, there are definitely times like if I'm in between a task, let's say I'm drafting an agreement, I'm done with that agreement and I'm going to move on to something else. I absolutely grab my phone and I'm like, let's see what everybody's doing. And I start scrolling. I may not interact. I may not like post anything or comment, but I definitely will do a little screen scroll. You know what I mean?
So this is, you know, the part of the conversation that I was really looking forward to is, do we think that social media in general has been good or not? And I think it's probably hard to say that it's all good or all bad. I think it's got some good features and some not so good features or influences on us. What do you think?
I think that if we're looking at statistics, and I feel like at some point I did look this up, but if we're looking at, you know, the fact that people are now, they now have a vehicle to compare themselves to really unrealistic standards, I do think that it can be detrimental because the reality of the situation is there are people who have social media lives that do not parallel their actual lives. That really is not an indication of their real life. You know what I mean? And then people see that and they think, oh my God, look at my neighbor with the perfect life. Look at my coworker that just got a new car. Look at this person that always has on a new outfit or always looks perfect or whose hair is always perfectly blown out. Like Christina. But
I go to Dry Bar. I'm not gonna
but look at all of that. You know what I mean? And I think that there are people that compare that to themselves when they don't realize, well, that person who posted that picture on Facebook, that might have been their 75th take of that same picture because they wanted to get it exactly perfect to get it on Facebook. And you're not realizing that. And you're also not realizing, like, what does it say about you and your own psychosis that you need to take 70 something takes of a picture because it has to be perfect for Facebook?
Oh
Because
my
if it's
God,
not perfect, oh
I
my
used
God.
to have a friend who used to that did that. It was it was not enjoyable. We would go out and she really would. Like she could spend a half an hour just trying to get the right picture. And it's like, why are you putting this much effort into this? That's another conversation. I just want to acknowledge Steve's comment.
Yeah.
He's right. He says it helped spur the Arab Spring and made Black Lives Matter a national event, but it also supports right wing nationalists. And his original thought, a comment he had made a little while I think when we first started out, he said it's just a means of doing things we already do and are. And I think that's actually a really good point. I think that's totally true. We're the same people as a society. We're finding different ways to do the things we were doing, right?
Well, right. I think that while social media could definitely magnify good behaviors, like, like giving legs to Black Lives Matter, or, giving a platform where there might not already be one, it can also magnify bad things.
Yeah, like fake news. This whole idea
Right.
of fake news, which
Like,
is a real thing.
like fake news. Or there are platforms like Parler that were supposed to really just be for people that had conservative views, but really turned into a platform for, white supremacy and racism. And I don't know that that's what it was meant for. Maybe it was what it was meant for. I don't know. But it turned into that. And there are also people that have that ability on social media to hide behind their screen because they're cowards and not say shit that they wouldn't say to my face.
Oh yeah.
So social, that happens on social media as well. You know what I mean? Like, you have both sides of it.
I even find that people will say things on, oh, thank you, Joan Knocklinger. We have awesome hair tonight. That was worth interrupting. I just think that a lot of people do that. They will feel very comfortable saying something, even in a text or an email, or putting something on Facebook that they would never have the balls to say to your face.
Right. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? And that might be a good thing, because what I will say is that through social media and the things that people post and the things that people comment and the things that people say, because they have, that I don't like to call them beer muscles. They're like screen muscles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they have that courage to say those things. I got to find out who a lot of people were that I might not have otherwise known, if not for the ridiculous crap they were posting on social media because they felt comfortable doing it. And I think likewise, there were a lot of people that maybe got to know who I was and maybe they didn't like that either. And that's fine. You know what I mean? It was definitely a means of expression, so in a way, like, yeah, I do think that is a positive that you get to express, but it's a negative because it does have the cowards come out and say things that, they wouldn't otherwise be comfortable saying, but they feel like they can because it's social media.
I think also people may not actually be able to appreciate the gravity of the things that they say and how it affects people because you don't actually see it. Right? Like if you're in school and you're going to make fun of another kid, well, you see the effects of that right there because it's happening in front of you to some degree. But I guess what I'm really referring to is the cyberbullying that happens.
Well, yeah.
In schools. But they can put nasty things on Facebook or, make fun of some kid on Instagram or someplace where they think maybe that kid isn't going to see it or know that it's happening. Or they get to just say it, but they don't have to deal with someone confronting them like right then and there to their face. You know
I definitely think that cyberbullying is one of those areas where we can look at social media as, being detrimental to our society. Because, back in the day, when we were growing up, if you had a bully, maybe the bully would say mean things about you. Maybe the bully would taunt you. Maybe they would come and like push you on the playground, but you had the opportunity to punch the bully in the face.
Right.
You had that opportunity. Whereas now with cyberbullying, number one, do you not have that opportunity? And number two, the things that are being said about you are now being put out in the cyber world for everyone, people that you know and you don't know to see. So in reality, if, we're on the playground and you come up to me or you start spreading rumors and you say Robin's a whore, that's fine. The only people that are hearing that are the people that are on the playground, and you might be able to mitigate that damage. You may be able to go in and say, well, I'm not a whore. I don't know what's going on. And you may be able to, but on Facebook, all of a sudden now it's on every social media platform, and that can be devastating to a kid. Devastating.
Steve says, and he's right, there was bullying before social media didn't change that basic human activity. And that's true. But I think the impact of doing it on social media is exponentially worse, more devastating, and more harmful than it ever was. Because think about it. If you're in a classroom of 30 kids and some bully starts picking on you, and let's say maybe a few of the other kids start helping, right? Or they're sitting there and they're laughing. Mm-hmm. But at most, you've got 30, because you're not going to have the entire class laughing at you. But let's say you did. Okay. Mm-hmm. You've got 30 kids in the class. That's a very different experience than going on Instagram and someone's calling you names and there's 100 people liking it and joining that and
sharing it. Right.
Yes. I mean, if it goes viral, I'm an adult. And if there was something negative about me that went viral on the internet, I would be very upset about that. And I'm an adult. So just imagine, how does a child really handle that?
Yeah. And on top of that, I think, part of the issue as well, like when you think about it, how many times have we said, like, wow, I am so glad that social media wasn't what it was like when I was in college or when I was in high school. Like, because just think about some of the stupid shit we did. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like going to a party or getting drunk or passing out and all. And you did not have to worry that was going to end up on the internet. Like you didn't worry about that. Like you didn't worry about like, oh, there's going to be a picture of me put out there, or, someone's going to like take a live of me at this party acting nuts and dancing. And now that's live on the internet, or, like you didn't even have to worry about that. And now that's a very, very real fear.
Yeah. And you know what? A police officer was telling me that something else that's really problematic that maybe you're not even thinking about, because we don't have kids, is, let's say your 16 or 17-year-old is sexting with a girl in school. Let's say, and I'm a little fuzzy on some of the legal issues, but let's say your high school kid turns 18 and he's sexting one of his classmates who's 16 or 17. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? If you have dirty pictures of her on your phone, that is now child pornography. And that's a crime.
And it is, even if you're not 18. So you can actually be a child to it. So I can be a 16-year-old and I can send a dick pic to a 15-year-old, and that's still child pornography.
Yeah.
As kids, as both of us being kids.
It's really serious. I mean, if the daughters, it's the girls who are, it's not considered appropriate for them to be doing that, but the dick pics can go all over the place. That's another episode. But, I
think we should do a whole episode on dick pics. Maybe dick pics and bullies. I don't know. But maybe not in the same episode.
That might be a little X-rated. But, I just think the kids have to be so careful. And it's up to the parents to educate them about this, Like, it's really important to tell your teenage boys, don't sext with girls. It might seem titillating, excuse the pun.
I like it.
Another corny joke.
I will approve.
It might seem, titillating at the time, but you could really be getting yourself in trouble, because what if that girl's parents find it? And maybe they're not going to be so understanding.
And they can press charges.
Absolutely, they can.
Right. And you're going to be in hot water because you now have a naked picture of a 15-year-old on your phone. Yeah. So You know what I mean? Like that's a problem.
Well, John, I hope you don't have any underage people on your phone. He says I may or may not have some on my phone.
I think you want to clarify that
Yeah.
comment, John.
I think
just
we know what he meant.
just to be clear, but I do think that because of social media, there is so much more to worry about. And I understand, you know, Steve, that you're kind of just getting into the debate to play devil's advocate, and we appreciate that. So, you know, we don't necessarily think that you're taking a position that, you know, bullies are bullies before social media, but I just think that social media has exacerbated bullying to a level that I don't even think we as adults can wrap our minds around. You know, the pressures that kids have to go through. Like, I mean, I've spoken to teenagers that, you know, are devastated because something is posted on social media, or somebody said this or posted something on their wall, or said, you know, I heard that you did this or you did that, or I saw this picture of you. We didn't worry about that shit. We just didn't. It wasn't as.
I do get what Steve is saying, that it's, you know, human behavior itself and what drives us. It hasn't changed a lot. I mean, the basics the fundamentals are still there. It's just sort of how we do it. So social media has just enabled us to do the same things differently.
Yeah.
But one of the negatives of that is that we can do it on such a grander scale. I mean, you can hurt people on a far greater scale, but you can also help people on a greater scale.
That's
too,
true.
right? So,
and I think that Judy makes a good point too when we talk about adults. I think that now with social media, that now so many adults are on it, you know, there's like adults being bullies too.
Oh,
you know, and using social media to bully other adults or say things about other adults. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, there are adult bullies, there are kid bullies, but I think that, you know, in a way, social media has brought out, and I still believe that a lot of it has to do with the fact that, you know, the people that have that cowardice to bully, they feel a little empowered by the anonymity that social media provides, that they're just like going out there and, you know, saying what they want to say, bullying who they want to, and they don't really care who it hurts or how people feel on the other side, because it's a screen. And I don't know if it feels as real to them.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And it enables certain people to be, I said the P word earlier. You didn't even blink when I said that.
Was I supposed to?
Pussies.
and now you've said it again.
I did 2 times. So, all right. Well, I think this is a good place to bring shit talking to a close today. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, I think that once again, we've solved all of life's problems, as we do every week.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think that what it comes down to is that, you know, social media definitely has, you know, it's positives. I think that it's a platform for everything. It's a platform for positivity. It can be a platform for negativity as well. But I think just like everything else in our society, it has its good and its bad. It's done some great things for us. It's brought about some great movements. But at the same time, we have to use it with care. I think that's what it comes down to.
The best thing it brought us was the Shit Talking podcast.
It did. So thank you everybody for listening and watching. I hope that you'll come back next week. We'll talk some more shit. We'll start with one topic and branch off into 50 other topics. That's what you get on Shit Talking here. So please join us next week. And if you've missed it or you want to listen again, you can always catch the replay on Facebook, or you can download the podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts.
What she said.
Thanks.
Thank you, Peanut Gallery. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for your participation. Have a great week.